As always, timestamps exist in case you just want to skip forward to like gameplay or maybe the detail file. Please use them if you want. Otherwise, what I'm showing you right here, as Future Jordan should probably note, is that yes, this is how the layout of the current, well, minimalist version of a character looks. And if I were to switch this really quickly, then you will see that inside the character underscore template folder, all I have is 3 images. We'll get into dimensions when it matters, probably in a future video, but again, just to show that you can just put in 5 images like this and be perfectly fine, as I'll show you when we get to the gameplay. Otherwise, as we switch to the Ito file, this is the character template Ito file. This is literally everything that's in there. Again, this is minimalist. This is just one if you want to get something working. I would highly advise, and I can just name this anything I want, but just to show how minimalist you can be to get a working character. This works on base World of Horror as well. This is all you need. You must, however, link to an image file, which is why I showed you at the very beginning how my file structure looks. If you do not put these in, the game crashes, whether you're on Perm or base World of Horror. So, to repeat one more time before we move on to the next timestamp, this is all you need to get the game working, and we'll play with this just for funsies, but yes, this is the minimalist you need. Obviously, you'll want more. That'll be in the next episode. I'll show you what, if you want a fuller character, even though you're using placeholders, I will show you in the next episode. Otherwise, here's what you'll need at a minimum. And again, if you're new to making custom content, I would highly advise you start with something like this for your character. That way you can get all the structure set up without going in and crashing your character and then trying to figure out where things go wrong. That's kind of more programming design philosophy, but you get the point. So, without further ado, we're going to hit quick play. I don't know why I'm hitting the options there when I'm just going to hit quick play to randomize things. I have not removed my overrides yet, but that's perfectly fine. And into Ath Exquisite Taste we will go. So yeah, as you can already see in the character selection screen, you see that it's 18 by 18. That's the dimensions for the character icon. You should, the white little outline or stroking of the box is not added by default, so you need to, I'm pretty sure you need to add that on your own if you want to stick more closer to the style of World of Horror. Otherwise, for timestamp's sake, as we get into Exquisite Taste, Ath, and then a minimalist custom character, the interesting part about this is that you can set this to 1, I'm not going to click this, by the way, because it'll ruin OBS for me, but one time scale, and then you get kind of more things to play with, basically. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, then don't worry about it. Dexterity, 2nd Mystery, Charisma, 2nd Encounter Strength, and maybe a light check. But I will ask kind of easier, or answer easier questions that will might be asked, basically. So you might be asking, well, why are the stats all 5 when the character's stats at base are 6? This is because of Harbinger of Doom difficulty. Also, something I should have noted before the first timestamps here is that when you're using a minimalist character template, either by what Perm gives you or another custom character, or maybe you're copy-pasting, again, you do need to fill out the bare minimum things that I noted in those sections of this video, because if you don't, yeah, the game crashes. I was going to mention something else, but I'll speak when we get into it. Otherwise, all that you saw at the beginning is what you saw as we get to gameplay. If I remember things, again, this series is more stream of consciousness as we get Metamorphosis, Coma, Television, Taxi, and Vigil. Take Vigil for the meat cleaver, by the way. So yes, this is not formal, meaning I did not prepare notes. I just prepared what I prepared, like what you saw in the Ito file code or the images of my file structure, and that's all you see. If there's something you want to know, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I will do my best to answer. If I don't know or I'm uncertain, I will at least direct you to where I think the answer lies at a minimum. But half and half, I should know for certain. But most of the time I'll be more likely to point you in the direction of where you need to go, so shrug. In terms of actually just playing with custom content, though, that is much easier. Still, though, I would recommend at least knowing the 2 or 3 steps required to get custom content where it needs to be, whether it's characters, whether it's a pack that has a character and events and enemies, whether it's a whole pack of a character, event packs, and mysteries. There can be a whole lot. But as we equip the meat cleaver and move on, I was going to do something else. I completely forgot. Well, too late now. I did not do a thing, did I? Well, I'm actually not sure what I was trying to remember there. But anywho, we'll take this reason damage in the face and try to move on. This encounter might heal itself, but it's fine for the moment. Let's hope that nothing weird happens. Well, or we just miss out the gate, but Gamble on 62% and cross our fingers, and then hope that the enemy doesn't heal. It did heal, so we just do another attack and just sit here for a moment. I'm bracing because there's a better chance of getting out with one reason, but if I miss twice in a row because 60% twice doesn't actually mean 60% twice, then I guess we just throw out a desperate struggle. Now, my question is, can we trade off some stamina for reason at least? Seems like we can. Nope, we can't. But I'm going to take a risk anyway, because if I miss two 60% into an 80%, boy oh boy, is this a heck of a run. So, 72%? Can I hit a 72% after all that hot garbage? I can. Oh my goodness. And here's where I can say, I don't remember. That's Doom. Okay, I actually need to remember that, because I never picked that, and that's actually guaranteed Doom decrease. But, so yeah, what I was going to say is that you do want to give your character some advantage, even if there is a negative. I think that's normally better than basically a blank character, as you can see here, because I don't have any advantages, which means I just suffer all the disadvantages that the game gives you. Period, that's the end of the sentence. To explain a bit more, basically just by turning up the difficulty by, I say just, that's actually a lot when you turn up to Harbinger of Doom, but you're playing with all the custom events that I have here. In general, the game's going to be harder, so not having any advantages, even though there may be disadvantages with a character's design, gameplay-wise, is not great, basically. Metamorphosis, Coma, Television, Taxi. We have 3 bad mysteries. I should have actually... No, because I wanted a free weapon, and we're on Exquisite Taste, which means sadness for funds, so... All things considered, I'm relatively healthy here if you want base World of Horror advice, but things can go wrong if you're unlucky. That's how I judge my current situation. 10 stamina, 6 reason, or 10 reason, 6 stamina. Doom's looking okay. I'm deciding whether or not I want to take Taxi or Metamorphosis. Television I like to save for later, because it's kind of the more moderate of the two in my opinion. Yeah, off into Metamorphosis we go, I guess. I will need to heal. The boss here does reason damage, so pain. But, as we get flashbacked in the face, deciding whether or not there's anything else I can do. I don't know if there is. Aside from a thingamajiggy, police station, hospital, village, mansion, and we were just in Vigil, so it's too late for mansion. Television, right? So village, most likely. I think hospital is the high one, but I don't remember if we're going to the hospital. So I'm just gonna sit here, set the patrols in the village, and move on with life. Yeah, Time Warp Holy Glyphs. Time Warp, 1 Doom, 10 power. That's actually quite important. So we'll talk about Time Warp, which is a perm-specific spell. You will not find it in base World of Horror or custom content, just in general. But Time Warp, so +1 Doom for minus 10 power. If you do not have 100% accuracy, and let's say you even spend 2 Doom for minus 20 enemy power, this 2 Doom could mean 3 reason. It could mean 1 if you're bracing, it could mean 2 all. So that's essentially the cost efficiency that I'm looking at when I'm looking at Time Warp here. So I might actually use it. I think Ath would already do Ath things, so we're spending Doom anyway, but I'm gonna keep an eye on how much Doom we might spend, because I'm just gonna cast Time Warp, and if I had cast Time Warp actually, because we were on Ath and we had it for the last encounter, probably would not have taken so much damage, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Especially with all the Doom decrease. Our Doom is decreased by 6 so far, by the way, so shrug, right? But, as we sit here, is this going to matter? Oh, yes. So, we're going to cast Time Warp twice. I'm going to keep an eye on Doom. Yeah, so it is increasing by 1 and not some weird 2. But, is that actually correct? No, yeah, it was. Okay, 16 power minus 20 is negative 4. So, let's throw out attacks and see how lucky we really are. 3 turn here for 2 stamina wouldn't be nice, because then I can rest comfortably and not have to worry about overcapping on stamina. But if 279% is far better than 259%, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And off we go. But before the end of the mystery, I do need to rest here. So, we're going to rest twice. And that should get me through the boss encounter, unless some weird stamina damage stuff happens. I guess we'll see. That last encounter, I don't remember. Fungus Infected Samurai, I'm going to cheat by looking at the chat. Quote-unquote cheat. It's not really cheating, that's why I'm quoting myself. But, yeah, we just taking this in the face. Stamina is what I'm worried about, but... You know what? I'm going to cast Time Warp again. So basically 2 Doom per encounter. That's not great all the time, but it'll do for the purposes of what I'm doing in my face at the moment. So we can guarantee this as well. And off we go. I want to reiterate, this is usually if you're what I'm doing with Time Warp is usually if you believe you're unlucky. If you believe you have average RNG, probably casting it once is good enough, but yeah, it's not great. So we're gonna cast Time Warp 3 times here. And gamble on 75%. We could do more, actually. You know what? I'd rather take Doom here than a bunch of stamina and reason, and this is -3 all, by the way. So what we're also considering here is that I use Time Warp about like 6 times. Let's just say 6 times. Essentially, I rested to recover 2 stamina and 2 reason twice, and so that's again what I'm considering when I am using Time Warp and then doing brace attack here, because that is how much damage I would be saving aside from bracing and attacking at 45-45% accuracy. Meat Horror is can be a pretty tough customer, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we're probably going to do this all the way down to even 3 reason, but that beats having to gamble. Period. End of sentence. Now, the other side of that is that you might notice I have Holy Glyph as well, and you're like, well, I can decrease my Doom, but I need a filled out inventory to make that worth it. I think it's actually, yeah. If you have the reason, sure. I'm scared of reason, but overall, I would say if you have the Doom for it, go for it, right? Otherwise, we're at near 95%. Doesn't matter because it's guaranteed. So you can also forget Holy Glyphs here, but we'll save it for a really bad day. So as we take that meat horror down, let's go into television, I think, right? Was it television? I feel like it was television. Quick thinking instead. If you were a knowledge character, you take folklore studies there. Otherwise, if you just want to take quick thinking just because, I mean, you do you, right? Television tax, yeah. Actually, television? Yeah, television. The reason why I'm not saying the actual last word as for my own consistency is because robots on this platform. But anywho, I don't remember what I picked here. We take reason. 1 reason for 15 experience ain't bad. It's the skill check success that makes me feel still sad. But you know what? Could be a lot worse. End of sentence. Could be a lot worse. So, just to reiterate something I said earlier, though, if you want to hear me talk more about basically custom characters and making custom characters, again, you don't need to use the exact images in the exact dimensions that I gave you. You could just use blank images. The only thing to add on to that is, as I said in episode 0, add some pixel. It doesn't actually need to be green like what I told you. It just needs to be some color of pixel on the bottom left corner of your image, because that is where World of Horror checks your transparency. If I'm wrong somewhere, feel free to correct me. It's just that I am trying to do my best to give relatively accurate information, at least. We could sell the crowbar and do a fun thing, but yeah, I thought maybe I'd be able to succeed. So, without further ado, the crowbar is to throw at the boss, pretty much. I don't have a lot of stamina and reason. That might be bad. I would have advised someone to rest here before the end of the mystery, but I miscounted. So no, I'm not gonna say what I was say or ask what I was going to say or ask, because I'm not sure if I was correct. So without further ado, 6 dexterity. We're just gonna try to attack the boss here, and off we go. So immediately throw the crowbar. We do have handcuffs for this encounter. But that's assuming I can hit 265% in a row and not take 2L for it. All things considered, though, let's see. We do have taxi. No, I'd rather save it for taxi. So what we're gonna do is instead brace, and maybe another time warp is coming. 2 time warp casts. I'm going to try and gamble a little bit. But in my situation, I would say you just cast time warp 4 times, then not deal with the RNG. Because if you miss at all here, it can be very, very bad. And I'm doing 285% in a row, which is it's not 50-50, but it's a gamble. It's like 66, but you get the point. 13 damage, and off we go. So you might be asking, because I know I've gotten Time Warp more than a few times in the past, why I haven't used Time Warp before? I'll be honest here and say, not that I'm being dishonest a lot of the time. I mean, you just have me at my word when I say that, but I forget I forget what spells I have at times. That should be relatively obvious at times, and even I catch myself, but I don't commentate on it because, well, I'm trying to also focus on the game. So, I can only laugh at myself. We also have a human skull we could have thrown, but we didn't need it for the last boss. I did forget about the human skull as a throwable item. Normally, I'm looking at weapons in my inventory as a quick, eye check, but hey, right? We've been lowering Doom by a lot, but really that was -1 reason and +2 stamina. Because I'm sure if I pick the options I want to pick here in Taxi, then oh my goodness, do I even want to fight this? Oh, we can't run from this. Why can't we run from this? Anywho, I guess that's a definite time warp, right? Yeah, because I don't want to. If we can't use the Doom running, we might as well use it increasing our accuracy, so we can brace against this godforsaken shower worm. I've never actually seen a shower worm in real life, but anywho. I don't even know if that's a real term, but you get what I mean. So anywho, we're gonna do this twice, so we only lose -2 all. That's very good considering the enemy. That's not as great if we keep taking that every encounter. But, shrug, right? I should actually pop into the hospital to grab... Oh, nice failure, by the way. To grab a thingamajiggy. We're gonna grab the experience here, and... cross our fingers. We don't need to handcuff this enemy, so... we do our best. Do we time warp here again? I think we time warp here again. Now, keep in mind, I saved a lot of Doom going into Vigil and getting the meat cleaver instead of trying to tree for funds, or if this were a non-exquisite taste run, I increased my thing too much, but you get the point. Or you get what's happening. Basically, the Doom I spent not having to buy a weapon or prepare to get a weapon and instead going into Vigil does me a lot. Did the damage just change? I feel like it did. Huh. Alright, keeping in mind. Now, that being said, I personally have deserved this, what's happening to me right now, because I think I've often dunked on the replacement driver before being an easy encounter. If he became more complex, then shrug, right? I mean, I'll take it. But anywho. Either way, it's not the worst thing in the world, but... that the replacement driver gets harder, but yeah, it is... overall, it makes things more difficult. Anywho, I think I'm not sure, actually. We are definitely going to rest, that's for sure. Do I want to do more? We're trying to skip the encounters for Taxi, by the way. End of sentence. So, let's see here. We run to the trees. We don't have the gun anymore, but that's warranted, I believe. And yeah, we tried to handcuff these. Hey, replacement driver here too. I don't remember the lore of Taxi too much, so I thought you actually defeat the replacement driver earlier, but we'll save this for later on when no, I don't have forced investigations, right? Anywho. We just take this in the face is what I'm trying to say. That was 14 damage, right? If that was not, we could throw the human skull as an option select. Okay, good. Off we go. But yeah, without further ado, let's do this last mystery. Why is without further ado one of my catchphrases? Anywho, I mean, it is just a regular phrase. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna take strength to 8 out our strength, but... yeah, into coma we go. So, we do have hospital investigations now, so we can police station switch. But, it should be relatively okay. Our Doom is a little bit high, but what do you want me to do, right? We used Time Warp as many times as we did. We actually still have the Monument as well. So, I can kind of try to get my money back. But, I know that we fought the Fungus Samurai, I don't remember the full name, sorry, as our second encounter, and I know that not Vigil. Vigil was our first mystery. Metamorphosis was our second. Well, hey. It has to be yeah. I have been a bit traumatized by the replacement driver, so we are going to... but I'm still going to take the risk here and handcuff this encounter. We get a carpenter hammer for our trouble. That's interesting to note, so shrug. By the way, let me just say it now. Oh, nice 12. Yeah, let me just say it now. If implied or looked like I was not happy with the replacement driver remix fight. That's not the case. I had a lot of fun in there, so. And if nothing else, gameplay-wise, there are quite a bit of ways to deal with him. If for no other reason than at least he is not a non-Eldritch enemy. Not even the fact that I think he's a human enemy when he comes back in the Forest ? But, yeah, it's that he's a non-Eldritch enemy, which opens him up to a lot of things. Now, you can't run from him, but you could. Maybe you can even still pocket knife. I don't even know if you can do that. I guess I'll find out, whether as homework or we'll find out later on. But, yeah, there are a lot of ways to deal. Throw items, desperate struggle in a big turn, spell usage for damage, because otherwise he just heals over and over again. I've mentioned 3 ways, not really reason to say more. So, as we take our experience and move on, we get to level up. If I need the level up, I probably shouldn't, so yeah, we should be home free. Fungus affected samurai, unless that was not right, I would be very surprised. And we'll just sit on this level up and not waste any more of your time. But otherwise, in the next episode, unless I forget, should be a more fleshed out minimalist character. Again, I want to do things step by step so that you can at least, you the viewer, if you're interested in making a custom character at least, can follow along with me. But I'm doing this day by day, and it might take a while because I can't do everything in one sitting, sorry. But otherwise, if you have any other questions, if you want to hear me talk about something, or want to ask me something so that you can get an answer to, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability in video format, if not reply to your comment. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!